Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Welcome back, Steve.
I'm happy to be back.
Had a
It
little
feels
bit of
like about 3 weeks.
Yeah, even though there was an episode last week, it was our media bracket, and we recorded that a week early, so we had some time. Now we got a bloated-ass episode. We got too much to talk about.
And I know you guys are excited.
So let's get into it. Let's start with a roll.
All right. This, we always talk about hitting the wire. I'm not going to hit the wire this time. Jesus, I should have hit the wire. That's a 2.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, God. A 1.
Ooh, I think we've done this before.
Wow.
We've never gotten 2 1s, though.
Well, if we're, tallying up at the end of the year who has the higher rolls, like, at least I won this one, you know?
Let's see, our main topic is Alien Romulus and Cuckoo. We're also going to talk Houses of Dragon and a couple of other things. Steve is like filled to the brim. So
I'm about to burst.
So Steve, you hit us off.
All right. Well, first off, I'll do books because it's a thing most people care the least about, I would think. So
if you got to get up and go to the bathroom while you're listening to this, just you don't have to hit pause. Just keep going.
I finished book 2 in the Mistborn series. Book 2, The Well of Ascension. Liked it a lot more than book 1. Like, I know
that seems to be the case with you. Like, book 1 was fine, but book 2 is where they're really stepping it up.
Yeah.
And then book 3 comes along and like, they didn't quite nail it.
And I think that just depends on the kind of reader you are, because I know a lot of people are like, I like the first books of series a lot because it's the world building and introduction to the characters that I'll grow to like or whatever. And this one, the first book was very popular because it's a heist story. Book 2, it's not a heist. It's like more Game of Thrones in terms of just like a new person is now like king and has to deal with like the political aspects of that, but also dealing with like this growing concern because there's armies outside the city. So the whole book is just like, how do we prepare? Like, can we turn these armies against each other, or can we like join forces with us? So there's always like these stakes along with this like underlying thing. Like, now that this other thing is gone, what's happening to the world now? And it was just a lot easier read for me. And by no means I hated the first book. I enjoyed the first book, but I just thought like, I don't see what the hype is. Book 2, I'm like, that's pretty fucking good. Big action scenes in it, lots of fun stuff. Recommend Mistborn book 2. My Hero Academia, the manga officially ended recently, and for the past few years I've been just they'll post website will just have the last 3 most recent issues to read. So I've just been like reading as it's been going on for the past few years, and now it's officially over. Cool. And it was good. I like the ending. I think a lot of people, from what I've seen, are kind of divisive on the ending, but it ended how I assumed it was going to end. And it's just a very nice, pleasant manga. And, I don't think it is the deepest of characters because I feel like pretty much everyone kind of stayed the same, but it was never about like these grand arcs. It was just kind of like, we're good people and we want to do good things, and that's pretty much what happened all the way through the end. And it was an enjoyable series. I liked it quite a bit, and but I'm glad it ended on its own terms. It didn't like drag out like One Piece and just has like 30 years of writing. It went for 10 years, like 400 issues or something, and then just there wasn't a ton of filler. Good stuff. Lastly, the book I think I would possibly recommend to you.
I'm interested because it involves me.
This one I did an audiobook for because a YouTuber I watched was just top 10 fantasy books to read an audiobook for. I was like, all right. And it has been on my Amazon wish list for a while just for the concept sounded kind of cool. It's called Between Two Fires. And it is the story of this disgraced knight who goes like kind of on a quest with this young girl who may have a connection to God in some way. Okay. And so it's set during the Black Plague. So it's this like ravaged French countryside while they're on this quest, they're constantly being attacked by demons and fallen angels, and the girl can see angels, but no one else can. But they're definitely like running into demons because they like fight like a swamp monster thing with like a human hand on the back of its tail, and they're running into like biblically accurate angels who are like trying to eat them or whatever. So it's technically like a horror. It
Okay.
falls under the horror category, but it I guess always comes under fantasy because it's like, oh, you're running into monsters.
Yeah.
But I know you're not a big religious person, but I thought it was just a ton of fun seeing some of the crazy monsters that they run into. And it's even though it's very bleak and dark and fucked up, it's also has moments of humor. And the relationship between the knight and the girl is kind of fun.
Okay.
And
How old
they
is the girl?
uh, I think like 14.
Okay.
And they also have another companion who joins their crew, who is a gay priest who is sort of ashamed of being gay, and like how all these three interact with each other is just all very like nice and sweet, and they like all care about each other. And then the book gets real weird near the end,
Okay.
but I think it's not like listening to it. It wasn't like, ooh, this is scary. But it's more just I think it's a perfect movie, a perfect book to be adapted by Robert Eggers because it's kind of
Okay.
got. I feel like it kind of has like the witch vibe
Okay.
to it, and he's already done like period pieces like the Viking or
Mm-hmm.
not the Viking, the
The
Northman,
Northman
and the Witch, and I
and the
think
lighthouse.
yeah, but yeah. But I would like to see him do. But he hasn't really done like monsters in these movies. I guess kind of the
He's got Nosferatu coming, so
yeah.
yeah.
So I think this would be
That's different than a swamp monster with a human hand on the end of the tail.
yeah, and there's like a demon horse with like a bunch of different hooves, and I think the hooves are like human hands, while that like
Ooh.
an angel rides it, and the angel's fucked up, and yeah, there's a bunch of crazy stuff. But I think it like reading, I'm like, I think Eggers would be like make a real fucking dope movie out of this, and I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it. I didn't love it so much. I'd be like, Ben, you have to read it.
Mm.
But if anything I said seems interesting to you, it might be
Okay.
worth checking out because of all the audiobooks I've read, I tune out all the time. I never really tuned out
Okay.
because I liked all the characters enough, and it was very rare. I'm like, wait, where are we again? Like, who
Yeah.
are we talking to? More so near the end, but like from the get go, I was like, I'm into this.
If it's a spoiler, you don't have to say. But why is the knight disgraced?
So it actually takes from like real history, and he was at a battle, and I think his wife uh fell in love with like his lord or something, or like his lord had sex with his wife or something like that, and so he just and then like she died, and he was just kind of like excommunicated from his group, so he just kind of like becomes like a wandering
Okay.
mercenary essentially. But another thing I enjoyed about the books, it'll introduce these characters, you're with them for a while, and then in one chapter will just be like kind of their origin story. So you see it cuts away from the main story, and then you see him at that battle, and they kind of like what happens, and then you see the priest, and he's like preaching to the town, but then it's like clearly he has someone in the town who he's in love with, but he has to keep it secret because, you know, gay people are
Yeah.
bad in this world, obviously. But then the Black Plague happens, and that changes everything, and it's good stuff.
All right. Shit, I had another question, but yeah, is the Black Plague historically accurate? Like, oh, it was fleas that bit rats, and then the rats that got people, or is it more of a religious fantasy thing that happened?
So in this book, the Black Plague is essentially, and I think the book kind of opens with this, where you kind of get a little bit of nuggets of why angels and demons are fighting currently, and it's because like God has just like disappeared, and like no one knows where God is.
He's playing skee-ball in New Jersey.
Yeah, and he's not answering his phone, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck is up?" And so Lucifer and the fallen angels and demons just like, let's fucking rage war on Earth, and if he doesn't come to save his like chosen people, then we're fucking raging war on heaven. And so the angels of heaven are trying to like do their best to like maintain as much peace, I guess, on Earth, but the Black Plague is just the hell's way of like waging war on God.
Okay.
And it's like, so that's the plan. It's just like, if we fuck the planet up, and he doesn't do anything, then we're just taking heaven.
Awesome.
So that's the idea.
Okay, cool. I finished a show that I was pretty excited for. Batman Cape Crusader.
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
No, I got 2 episodes in. I'm like, maybe I'll finish it. I wasn't really vibing with it.
It's
not that it was like bad. I couldn't
bad.
get into it. Yeah.
And if you like Batman the Animated Series, you should like this. There's nothing that they do that is so egregious. I know people are going to complain about either race swaps or gender swaps or total character redesigns, and none of that's important. It's just kind of more of the same. And I don't need Batman to reinvent the wheel, but I need it to be more. Like, I like what they do with Clayface. It's an interesting take. I like what they did with Harley Quinn, but Catwoman's pretty much Catwoman. You know, maybe her circumstances aren't quite the same, but it's pretty much the same character. There's a character called Onomatopoeia that shows up, I thought it was, you know, when Batman Beyond, that sound wavy person?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be him, because the face it looks like almost like a bullseye on the mask.
Yeah, he was. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure there was a Batman comic called Batman Cacophony, written by Kevin Smith. I think Kevin Smith technically created Onomatopoeia.
Well,
I have the book. It's
I
pretty solid.
Known like does he have any powers? Because he just makes sounds. Like, he sees footprints and he like goes clap, 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 clap.
Yeah, he's a serial killer who does sound effects with his mouth and kills people.
And that's it. And
that's it. He's like a Calendar Man kind of character.
He's a gangster. There's a hit on Barbara, and he just has a bunch of goons, and they're gonna kill him. And like, oh, okay. So what's his deal? Like, can he imitate sounds so perfectly that, you know, it confuses Batman? Like, no, he's just a weirdo that just points his finger at you and goes bang.
Bang, yep.
Like,
yeah,
wow, that's not interesting.
Yeah. I don't think you see who it is at the end of the Cacophony book. You just see that he takes his mask off, and I think he lives a normal life with his family. He's just a crazy person.
Okay.
Or at least, you know, is a crazy person who lives a normal life.
Yeah.
But that's it, as far as I know about him.
But all in all, I think this is a perfectly fine Batman show, but it's not enough for me to give it an actual recommendation.
Which is a shame, because I love Batman.
Yeah.
And I know how much you love Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, and I was very happy that, you know, Joker doesn't show up until the last scene of the last episode. Gotta tease the Joker. And he's got a weird voice, too. It's very deep. But do we need it? I know he's his number one guy, but I'm just so sick of that character. And maybe I'm just kind of sick of Batman in general. So
he's had a lot of adaptations.
Yeah, so
probably more than anyone else.
I'm giving this, like, whenever I chart everything that I watch in my phone, and with movies it's A through F, but with TV shows it's kind of hard to do it that way. So it's thumbs up, thumbs down, or just an okay. Yeah, and this gets an okay.
You know, there's, and maybe we've talked about this on the pod before, there's comics like Batman Arkham Asylum, Penguin, Batman Arkham Asylum, Poison Ivy, or whatever. Sure. Like, I just wonder, can you make a Batman show where, because he is a detective, just make one 10-episode season where the whole case is, this is the Penguin season, this is the Joker, like, you know, and then you have 10 seasons, and you maybe sprinkle in a Calendar Man to spice it up, or maybe just do a whole season of Calendar Man. I don't give a shit.
No, I don't think you need a whole season of Calendar Man.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you have so much rogues gallery, it's like, and then you do 10 seasons, and then only 10 season, you end with the Joker. Sure. You break it up. It's like, we're not doing Joker for a long ass time.
And there's a little bit of like connectivity in this. Every episode is pretty standalone, but there are things that flow through into the next one. But it's just more the police don't like the Batman, and who is this guy? And the police are corrupt, and we gotta weed out the corruption. Like, we've seen this so many times before. It's just not interesting anymore. I think his name's Hamish Linklater. Mm-hmm. He does the voice of Batman. He was on like The New Adventures of Old Christine.
Yeah, he's the priest from the Mike Flanagan Midnight Mass.
Yes. He does a pretty good imitation of Kevin Conroy, but it's different enough. But it's fine. All the voice acting is pretty okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some designs like Alfred is fat.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of weird. The Joker is gender swapped, and I think is just ugly. And I know the Penguin's not an attractive character, but I think they could have worked harder.
Sorry, you said the Joker was gender swapped. And
I'm
you
sorry,
said the
Penguin.
Okay.
Penguin.
I was like,
gender
wait.
swap. No, it's just like a bad design.
Sure.
Catwoman's design is not very good.
Yeah, Penguin being the first in the first episode, I was just like, that's Margot Martindale, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You just get her.
Sure.
Not the voice. I'm just saying, like, if you
Yeah.
did a live action female Penguin, just get Margot Martindale.
Yeah. But yeah, well, that's fine.
All right.
What else you got?
Give me 1 second. So those were...
That was 3 of 9.
That was 3 of 9. Let me knock out a... So, I think we talked about off-air, Bigger, the 45-minute improv show on Dropout of Brennan Lee Mulligan and his wife, Izzy Rowland. Enjoyable, fun, but didn't like blow me away. I mean, we are obsessed with that guy, or at least I know I am.
I like both of them.
I like both of them a lot. But
yeah, it would be the people, like, if I was throwing like a fancy dinner party and
Yeah.
I was introducing all my friends, they would be the people I'd be excited for my other friends to meet. Like,
Yeah.
You're gonna love these ones.
I think I think this only works for me because I know them and I know their comedy.
Yeah.
I think if they were people I had no idea who they were and this was like a Netflix stand-up special, I would go like, I don't know if it was for me.
Yep.
Which is a shame because I want them to succeed at everything. But I was just like, yeah, it made me laugh, but it's not like every bit was a home run.
No. And it's the problem with improv is you go, oh, I could see them going this way, and that's going to be great. And then they totally go a different way. Like, I wish you would have really focused on that other thing. But don't they have another thing? Not them, but Dropout, Get Your Act Together. Isn't like the first episode of that out?
That might have just been dropped today or today. I haven't checked.
Okay.
But anyway, if you like improv, we always are big fans of the Dropout channel, and we recommend all their stuff.
Everything they do.
But yeah, little bit of a disappointment for me, but still enjoyed it.
Do you think they'll get more, or that was their special and that's it?
No, I mean, if that's their act.
Like, are they going to get another episode of Bigger?
Oh.
And then it's just more people.
Kind of like a Middle Edition Schwartz kind of thing.
Yeah, what was that called?
Middle Edition Schwartz.
Is that all it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could see that, but I think you release this, see how it does, and like, oh, this was a huge hit.
Let's do another
one, yeah. They have so much talent on there. I think they're all getting their own little bits here and there. Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 1 of 3. This show sucks. This show is so stupid. It's one of those things, I put so much...
I've heard so many people going like, it's getting better and better every season.
They're finding more and more ridiculous ways to put these kids into kung fu fights. And it's just all, teen drama. And that's always kind of what it's been. But like in the early stage, it was charming and had, this good nostalgia factor, and Daniel LaRusso and Johnny and their relationship, but you've just dragged all these relationships out for 6 seasons. It's just like, just fucking end already.
Yeah.
And you have this villain Kreese who spends like part of the season, or pretty much the majority of the season, in Korea, and he like goes to a cave and gets bit by an albino cobra, which he doesn't die, he just hallucinates. That's not how snakes work.
Yeah, if they're albinos, it does.
I guess so. And it's all just so silly, and how people like deal with their problems is silly, and it's just nonsense. And there's this big, because they always had like the Hill Valley tournament, which was the big thing at the end of the first movie, and that was how it pretty much goes for the first few seasons. And now they're training for this world tournament, Saikai Taikai, and I know that's the name of it because they say it every 45 seconds on the show.
Even I've heard that.
And it's driving me crazy. I can't hear this name anymore. And they're all acting like here's like an example of a conversation, and it's one of those conversations that happens in like every season where because there's like the kid from the street, uh he Johnny's son, and then there's like the charming boy who like is was in the first. They're all from the first episode, but he's like the dorky one who like learns kung fu, and Johnny takes him under his wing, but like they're both kind of the dorky one's going off to college, and but he like doesn't have enough good grades, but so they want him to have extracurriculars. He's like, I got to win this tournament because it'll like really impress the college people to let me in. It's like, our college is like excited to get kung fu masters at their school, but sure, I'll buy it. And then he's talking to him, he's like, hey man, like we're probably gonna have to fight each other at this thing or whatever, and I really need to win so I can go to college. It's like, oh, so my dreams don't matter? It's like, no, dude, I never said that. It's like, because I need to win this so I can, whatever. It's like, yeah, man, like one of us could win. It's just like those kind of things where it's just like, oh, I need to win for whatever reason because I need this to do. And it's like, oh, so whatever, like, I don't matter to you anymore. It's like, no, it's like that fake drama shit.
Or if you were just two normal people, you would just talk it out.
Yeah, and whatever. It's so poorly written at this point and so ridiculous. Like the show sucks. Like it was kind of fun.
And you said it's part 1 of 3?
I thought it was broken up into 2 parts. They're dragging this show out. So part 1 premiered, I think, in July. Part 2 is in November, and then part 3 has an unreleased time in 2025.
Because they need those
we need
Netflix subscribers to pay for
to stick around.
Months.
Yeah, it's an atrocious abuse of the fandom and streaming services for a show that just isn't very good. But it's like, for those people, you stuck around this long, you're gonna see how it ends.
I'm glad I never started it.
Yeah,
when I heard of it coming out, like, oh, what a fun idea. But now we've mined the well of so many properties. It's not novel. It's not interesting, and I'm glad I never watched. And I love the original Karate Kid.
Yeah, the original Karate Kid's great. It holds up.
But when you don't have a Mr. Miyagi,
yeah,
you're missing something.
And Mr. Miyagi is just all through this in terms of like his spirit. They're constantly bringing him up and everything. But like in this final season, they have like, oh, we found this hidden box under Mr. Miyagi's floorboards, and inside it like lists that he may have done crime at some point. It's like, Mr. Miyagi was my sensei who like never did anything wrong. How could he be bad? And it's just like, who fucking cares? People multidimensional, like, but I don't even know if this is just like, I'm sure it's a fake out where it's like, he didn't actually, or he did a crime to like save his dying
like
wife.
Jean Valjean, he stole a loaf of bread, but it was to feed his
but it's
kid.
like just ruining Daniel Russo's life. It's just like, he never did anything bad ever, and now like, is he tainted? It's like, dude, you're a 50-year-old man who's like obsessed with your Asian grandpa. Like, shut the fuck up.
From when you were in high school, grow up, dude. You're a car salesman now.
Also, Daniel Russo's wife should have left him seasons ago.
Oh yeah,
like there was little bits of like drama in their marriage because it's just like there's so much things going on. But like these are adults in California who are like in gang wars with these warring kung fu groups, and the wife is just like, why why is she sticking around? Because she's putting up with all this nonsense.
You're in a world where martial arts it's like the world of Pokemon. Everything revolves around Pokemon.
Somehow.
But no, it's all martial arts. Your schooling, the respect of your wife, it's all that.
It's all about martial arts. And it's so dumb because in the real world, nobody would care this much about this stuff.
Unless it's such a small circle. And all your friends do it, it seems like the world revolves around this thing that you like.
Sure.
But then you go outside that circle and nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about. I really want them to
like they engage with people who aren't like in their group, but really it's mostly them interacting with each other and stuff. Like they go to school, but you don't see them interacting too much with like other kids at the school. They're only interacting with the people who do karate at that school.
They should have an episode where it cuts to like the volleyball team and have the drama and the stakes be really high, just like with this, but it's with volleyball and like, see, it's only important in your narrow view of the world.
Yeah, because it's just so, and I'm not shitting on people who like karate or whatever. Like, I did karate, and I hope if you do karate, you become world champion, the Saikai Taikai or whatever. But just the level of absurdity that this feels like, it's super fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And I need the show to end. Anyway, all right. So let me go. Oh, did you finish Umbrella Academy?
I didn't even start it.
Oh, I did. Every season I think gets a little bit worse. I think I saw a lot of people don't like the finale. I think the finale was fine
Mm.
for me, but this was a show. We had 3 seasons of 10. This is 6. I think it was just kind of like, hey, we'll give you guys your
Yeah.
swan song,
Yeah.
but you can do it in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
There's arcs that don't go anywhere. I think there's characters who like don't really get like a nice send off in terms of just like they have to be here, but we don't have anything for them to do this
Mm.
season. There's relationships that happen where I don't care about this. Why are you throwing this in at the
Yeah.
last minute kind of thing? And it just season 4 I think has some cool ideas and a fun like villain in Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman.
Yeah. They're great.
Yeah. They're fun, but like it's just more of kind of the same. And the only reason I think the show has any legs at all is that I really like this cast. I think they're
Yeah.
all fun. I like all the characters. But the show itself just isn't all that good. And just like I remember watching season 1 going like, this is really cool. And then season 2, I think, still held up.
Yeah.
And then season 3, by the time that was over, I was like, I don't care about this all that
Yeah.
much. I'm ready for the show to be over because it's 3 seasons of, oh, we need to save the world. We did it. Oh, we need to save the world. We did it. Oh, we need to save the world. We did it.
Yeah.
And then season 4, oh, we need to save the world. Will they, won't they?
Yeah.
And once season 4 was over, it's just like, what a shame because there is some gold nuggets in here.
Yeah.
There's some cool ideas, but a lot of it isn't explained or it is over explained or it's just kind of like tossed aside because it's all about timelines and how to whatever and it's all made up mumbo jumbo and it just doesn't gel by the end. And I want the cast deserves better because I think they're all great, but the show itself is just a bummer because you started off so strong and by the end I was like, I'm glad I never have to watch another episode because when season 4 started it had been such a long gap. I don't even really remember all that much of happened in season 3 and like season 4 like it all kind of connects more or less together. Like you need to remember little bits of nuggets of 1, 2, and 3. And it's just like, yeah, season 1, like looking back, like they were the characters. There was like big guy, maybe it was season 2, but the big guy who teamed up with Mary J. Blige and stuff. I don't remember what they did at all.
Yep.
There's tons of characters like the monkey guy. I know he got an origin story. Don't remember what his origin story was. There was stuff with like the robot mom. Don't remember anything about her.
It's a show that is made for binge watching, so you don't forget anything.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll have a great time if you've never seen Umbrella Academy and you just knock them all out now. Yeah. But if you're watching season to season, it's like, I don't fucking remember much of anything.
All right, well, let me talk about something that sucks. I saw last week's new release, Borderlands. I wish you kind of saw it because it would have been a fun thing to talk about. This movie's dog shit. It's so incredibly boring. Everyone is miscast. It's not.
Well, you've never played Borderlands.
No.
So you know nothing of the lore or care about the franchise itself. Yeah. Neither have I. So just want to get that out in the open. Yeah. So
it's something that I'm not a part of, so it's not precious to me. But regardless of how faithful you are to your original source, you just got to tell an interesting story. And it is so from the get-go. So there's like a vault on a planet. And they're like, this vault on the planet of Pandora, real, original, it can only be opened up by a child of Pandora. I'm like, oh, okay. And then, I'm Kate Blanchett, and I come from Pandora, but I left a long time ago when I was a kid. I'm like, oh, so she's the one that could open the gate. It's not the little girl that they're telling you she's the special one. It's Kate Blanchett. Like, well, you're not supposed to know that now, but it's
this is the opening of the movie?
Practically. It's like her saying, like, I'm from this place, the place where you have to be from in order to do the thing. But it's so incredibly obvious and poorly written. It wants to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but it feels more like Suicide Squad.
Sure.
But
that tonally was like Suicide. Are you talking about 1 or 2?
1. Suicide Squad.
That's
not
what I think.
The Suicide Squad.
Because tonally, like the first one, I don't think was trying to go for a Guardians vibe too much because it was like pretty dark.
What, the game?
No.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
No, they 100% wanted to be Guardians of the Galaxy. After Guardians was released,
I just mean like
Suicide
Guardians
Squad,
was like bright and vibrant and
yeah,
fun,
and that's why
where
like
Suicide Squad was
it
just
was
like
pretty dark. But
yeah.
remember all those character intros with the big splashy effects that would show their name and the freeze frame, and then the needle drops every time it introduced another character. All that shit was
I haven't
reshot
seen that movie since it came out. So
because
no.
Guardians was so full of that.
Sure,
They said
sure.
we need to imitate that, and it's such a Guardians copy. Like Kate Blanchett is your Star Lord. Kevin Hart is your Gamora or Nebula, just warrior badass. Little bunny girl is your Rocket Raccoon.
Mhm.
She's all big into explosions. Then you have your big mask guy who I don't even know if he has a name. He's just like a psycho.
Mhm.
He's your Drax or
Probably your Groot.
or Groot.
Yeah.
He's just that. It's so obvious. And that big guy, I haven't played the game, but it feels like that since he doesn't have a character, they just took all lines of dialogue from any NPC in
Mhm.
that game and said, where can we fit these in? They break him out of a prison and a guard runs up and he goes, "You're in my spot," and kills the guy. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Your spot was in the cell. What are you talking about? So it just sounds like a line lifted, and they thought that's a good place right here. And then he's running at a bunch of guys like, "Time to make them bleed." And me and Nick look at each other like, no, you're not. This is a PG-13 movie. This would be kind of fun if it was R.
Mhm.
There's a scene in the sewer where like, don't touch the water. It's all acid. And they're going through a corridor and they shoot up all these pipes and all this acid hits all these psychos. And like, ooh, this could have been really fucked up. But it's just guys going, "Ah!" and falling on the ground. It's so tame and mild. It's completely unfunny. None of the jokes work. It's pathetic. This is gonna be the worst movie of the year. Worse than Madam Web. At least Madam Web, you could kind of have fun and laugh at it and look at these stupid decisions.
Disagree.
This is like multi-million-dollar movie, and you can see how poorly edited it is. Like there's a part where she gets on this planet, and probably in the script was she talked to some kids and there's some dialogue and some bad guys showed up and she kills them and moves on. But they're like, we got to trim this down. So it's literally voiceover of, I met some kids and talked to them, and then some bad guys showed up and I killed them, and then they're just showing it really quick. Like, oh,
Mhm.
this was at least a 5-minute scene that we have to put down to 15 seconds. Yeah, it's bad. I think Madam Web, you could have fun, and there's
Disagree, but okay.
There's nothing. There's no joy in it. It's awful.
Well, I'm glad I didn't watch it. And what's interesting is even when there are bad movies, typically, and I try and avoid celebrity bullshit in general anymore. But typically, as I'm scrolling through YouTube, I'll see like, oh, this person's on Jimmy Fallon or this person's on Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
Have they sent actors to talk this movie up? Or
I don't,
because I don't think they've. I imagine the actors saw a rough cut or the premiere, or like as they're making, they had to go like, I can't come out here and pretend to like this thing, man, because this...
There's a lot of stuff of them on set talking about it. Oh, Eli Roth, what a genius, da-da-da-da-da. But after the fact stuff, no, I don't think they were on anything. And it feels like they were... when actors sign a contract and they have to do a certain movie, like, oh, you dropped out of this, well, you owe us one, we get to pick, and they just have to do it. It feels like every single one of these actors were just under contract.
Yeah. I mean, I would see why it feels beneath Kate Blanchett, but it's like, I do this movie so I can do Tar.
Yeah.
Like, I can get behind that concept, but at the same time, it feels like she hasn't done like a big budget movie in a long time.
Except Thor Ragnarok?
Oh, yeah. But that makes sense because it's like, well, this is the biggest franchise, being Marvel.
Yeah.
And I get to play
ancient god.
And I get to play a villain. And she was probably one of the best parts of that movie.
Debatable.
I just love Kate Blanchett. But just to see, when I saw her, that she was in this,
and just
Blanchett, from the trailer,
I'm playing a 25-year-old.
It's like, why are you here? Yeah. Like, you could have done anything. Go do Tar 2.
Yeah.
It would have, even if, I know...
Tortuga.
Go do anything else, because this is, like, this beneath you. I mean, girl, get that money, but I also think you probably don't need it.
So I think from what I heard was during COVID, she got into the games and she just fell in love with all the lore and all the characters. And then when she heard that it was going to be made, said, "Cool, sign me up for it. I love this shit."
That's a shame.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, I get, because it's like,
She'll make any garbage.
Sure.
How many Halloween movies was she in?
Yeah. She's been making crap for a while.
It's her bread and butter.
She's great on Bear, but like, hey, you deserve better.
And I don't blame like little girl who was like she was Gamora in Avengers Infinity War, young Gamora, so that's kind of funny. She was in Barbie. Like, she's having a good career, and she's probably the best person in this because she's just supposed to be an annoying little kid. But I bet she was feeling like, man, I'm in hit after hit. Like, this is going to be great. Now the
big budget action movie on an IP. Like, I get it. It makes sense on paper.
Yeah. And then by the end, when they finally get into the vault, and the whole time we can't let the bad guys get in because he's a big weapons manufacturer and he's going to do bad stuff. And you're like, what is in the vault? Is it money? Is it alien tech? Don't know. And they get in there and it's a void of floating cubes, and then a Cthulhu tentacle thing grabs the bad guy and kills him. Like, was that it? What was the point of the actual vault? What would anybody have gotten out of it? And if it was a psych gotcha sort of thing, like the elder gods created this vault and whoever gets into it, their lust for power is too much because they went to the ends of the earth to try to get into this gate, we will eliminate them because that's a trick. But it just felt like there's going to be a magic crystal that will, turn you all powerful, or crazy guns or something like that. But no, they don't even really explain it. Real bad. Real shit. All right, so I feel like I've been very negative about everything this episode so far. I'll talk about something real quick, something that I liked. It's called Presumed Innocent. It's on Apple TV. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal as a lawyer whose partner, like, he works for the city. He's like a district attorney. And his partner, who he's run a lot of cases with, ends up dead. She's found in her home, tied up in a very similar way to one of the cases that they prosecuted. And so now he's on the case. But then it turns out he actually had an affair with his coworker. And he has a wife and 2 kids. So now everyone's looking at him like, hey, son of a bitch, why didn't you say anything about this relationship? You were gonna like try to prosecute this case, and you were with her, and now we now have evidence that you were there the night that she was killed, and she was pregnant with your kid. Okay, you're our number 1 suspect.
Of course.
And so it's about him trying to like keep things from his wife, because like she knew about the relationship, but she thought it was over, but it picked back up again, and like trying to keep it from the kids. And he has a boss, what's that, Sarsgaard? He's not related to the Skarsgård. Sarsgaard?
Oh, Peter Sarsgaard.
Yes, that
guy.
I
think he is related to him. I think they're all related.
No, because I think they're Skarsgård and he's a Sarsgaard.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Him with his little rat face. That guy, he plays such an evil little shit so well. He was in
Jarhead.
It's been a long time.
Okay,
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
With Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah.
Okay, cool. Ruth Negga is his wife. She's really good in it. But so yeah, the Sarsgaard, he's a coworker who just has it out for Jake Gyllenhaal. He wants to put him away so bad because he's kind of like everything that he's not. He gets the girl he likes, he has the happy life, and he's just a pathetic dude who has a cat. And so is he really after him because he thinks he truly is the person that did it, because they have like no evidence that he actually did it except that he was there and they were in a relationship, but there's no DNA, there's no fingerprints or anything like that would say it's him. This is a pretty good show. It's 8 episodes. Really keeps you guessing the whole time.
A lot of red herrings, like every episode kind of ends. You're like, oh, is it them? You're like, well, it's episode 1, so it's not.
I was hearing people going like, every episode you go, oh, I thought it was this person. Now it's definitely this person. That's not true.
Okay.
Pretty much the whole time it's like, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. It's Jake Gyllenhaal the whole time. They'll point to other things like him going, well, what about this person? Like, no, it's you. You're the killer. And so it was all well worth the watch to see at the end, like, was he the killer? Was he not?
Mm-hmm.
Who did it? Why? You know, it's a good enough watch if you like courtroom procedurals. This is a good one, and it was based off of it's based off of a book that was turned into a movie with Harrison Ford. Same name of all the characters and pretty much same plot. His name is what's it? Rusty Power? No.
Oh my god.
No. His name is fuck your fucking internet. Never mind. Can't look it up.
Wait. Who
Presumed innocent.
Rusty Sabitch?
Oh yeah. It's Rusty Savage, but it sounds like Savage.
Okay.
Rusty Savage. It sounds like a cool name, but it's Savage.
Okay.
And I think his name's not even Rusty. It's a longer name, but they just call him Rusty.
Got it.
Anyhow. Worth your time if you have Apple. You know, poor Apple, they don't have a whole lot on there. But when they do, they got good shit.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And finally, Severance is coming back next January. So, did you hear that? It was like the most expensive thing that they've ever created. It was like $10 million an episode. Like how? It's in a room most of the time. So they must be doing some crazy stuff for season 2. And then I also saw a thing about like what Apple plus their viewership in a month is the same as what Netflix does in a day. That's how many more people are on Netflix than on Apple. But they have the money to blow.
Yeah.
So, but I hope they don't go away. They got some good shit on there. Okay. Let's see. Let's. You know what I want to talk about, Steve?
Let's talk about
some Hot D.
Oh.
House of the Dragon season 2 came to an end like 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah. Last year we did a fun thing where we would talk about House of Dragon and Rings of Power. They were dueling at the same time. Yep. It was glorious. Every week we were talking about it. Yep. This year they didn't do that, and so we're like, smart. No, we'll just save our thoughts to the end.
Yeah.
So Ben, now that the season's over, you watched all 10 episodes.
8 episodes.
8 episodes. What'd you think?
It was good. Good shit. I really like this show.
Did you like it more than season 1?
Probably. Just because season 1 had so many time jumps, which even though I know I've said I want more time jumps, but it was hard to keep track of who the fuck was who. At least now we're in a position where, okay, there's not going to be any new babies or offspring or anything like that. These are our characters. So learn the family trees and everything now. A lot more dragon stuff in this that I really enjoyed. The new characters that were introduced, I thought were all really fun. I heard people say this is a wheel spinning season and like it needed the 2 more episodes to actually get to the fucking point. But I thought it ended in a good spot. Like a lot of Game of Thrones seasons, it's a cliffhanger. And now once we come back in 2 years, we will, actually get going to the main point. And with them planning to only be 4 seasons, that I'm okay with that. Yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed the season. I'm not sure if I enjoyed it more than season 1, but I still think I think I made this criticism last season where the show does everything that Game of Thrones did in terms of like keeping me intrigued with all the characters. I can follow who's who. I know what's going on. I'm never really confused at any point. From a filmmaking standpoint, it's very big and grand and does a good job. It's just not a fun show.
No.
Like, none of the characters are witty or charm.
I mean, one. The drunk in the bar who's like, I'm a Targaryen, and like, yeah, sure.
No, I didn't really care for him.
Oh,
I really, who I really like this season? Aemon's brother, the king.
Oh, yeah.
Aegon. Yeah. Aegon, yeah. I like
Dickless Aegon.
Dickless Aegon.
Yeah, he lost his dick. Oh no, you're saying the king's brother, not...
No.
Who? Who are you talking about? The one that got burnt?
Yeah, the one that got burnt.
Yeah, he lost his dick.
Yeah, sure. Okay. That wasn't a big plot point, really. No, but so just okay. Anyway,
did you not see like the meme of it was Sonny? It was Glenn in a hospital bed. And he's like, "Does my dick work?" I'm like, no, kill me.
Gotcha. But yeah, I I feel in Game of Thrones, even though Jon Snow was constantly brooding, he was still kind of funny. Tyrion's like top tier character.
Yeah.
You always had jokes where like every episode is just like kind of a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
Because it's just family against family and no one's really happy, even the people in power, who can like do fun things. That's why I kind of liked Aegon, because he even tried to do some nice stuff, and Otto was just like, no, we can't give people sheep. We need them for the dragons. Like, well, he came all this way. It's just like so kind of sweet and innocent. They're like, no, man, you're a fucking idiot. Let the grown-ups talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the episode, I think 4 it was, Rook's Rest, where the dragons actually like did battle. All that shit was really cool. The show is great and incredible. I don't have as much fun with it as Game of Thrones. That's my only big complaint.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything we can really say about the show that hasn't been said a million times over. It's impressive across the board.
Yes, and I don't think I'm qualified because I have to watch. There's someone on TikTok that I follow, and he would always do a recap of the things that he liked because he read the books, and this was, something he's been waiting for. And I don't know, the fact that anybody could remember everyone's names and their relations was pretty impressive to me. But when they were able to compare it to the book and things that maybe I didn't know, because I'm too dumb for this show. It's too big for me to completely follow, just with family storylines. That I need someone to hold my hand.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like knowing who's related to who and stuff, that's where the show I think can get kind of confusing. But in terms of the story they're telling, like who is fighting who and why, like I get all that.
What about the windmill people? And they had like a little bit of a beef, and then cut to, and they're all
the Blackwoods and the.
Why did they fight? Just disrespect?
Yeah, they're kind of like the Hatfields and McCoys. They're just like two families who just hated each other for a long time, and they just fought. They didn't need an excuse to kill each other, which I think they did say in one of the episodes. Like they would have fought anyway, but now that there's like one chose this side, one chose the other side, so they could find a reason to kill each other.
Biggest complaint is what's it, Aemon?
There's Daemon,
and
there's Aemond.
Yeah. Okay. If I could have one thing about all Game of Thrones is one name once. If you are Aegon, you're not named after your grandfather Aegon. You don't have a son named Aegon. You're Aegon. Or you say Aegon the Second, Aegon the First, something like that. Because they just throw these names out and they're too similar to everybody else, and I don't know what you're talking about. So that's like, fuck you, George R.R. Martin. Like, think of another name.
Really and I'm sure there's real life examples. But it feels like it's just a fantasy thing. You never see this in like a horror book, or you're not going to see a romantic comedy where it's like, oh, Evan and Devin, like
There's an episode of King of Queens where Jerry Stiller is like writing a script and he's trying to give it to Lou Ferrigno, and he's like, it's really bad. You have two people named Mike in this story. He's like, you've never met two Mikes before, and it's like, it's true. Like that happens, but there's a reason we don't do that, and it's too similar, and that's really obnoxious. But his whole thing, this whole season, like, I'm slowly going crazy talking to this ghost lady who's introducing me to a weird satyr thing by a tree. Like, all of his going mad stuff got real boring real quick. That's like 2-3 episodes, and then get back to it, only for him to end up just being like, yeah, I'm back in my wife.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about this season 2 is just like you have Rhaenyra, who you fell in love with by all of season 1, and then you just keep her inside her castle the entire season. I mean, she gets little bouts here where she like pops out and talks to a person for a scene, but then it's like, oh, gotta go back home. Yeah. And like strategically, that makes sense, and I get that. But it's kind of boring because the best we all know that Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, the world of George R.R. Martin is best served when people are in rooms talking. So when you have your two stars never talking to each other except in 2 scenes this season, and they're 2 great scenes, it's just you kind of lose something with that. And then you have Daemon, who's his best stuff is when he's like kind of fucking up other people's thing, but he's just on a mission the whole time, and you're never quite sure, is he going to complete the mission or not? Yeah. And so you have something interesting here with, Harrenhal is this like ancient haunted castle kind of thing, and like that's a cool idea, doing this mini horror movie in here, but you're just dragging out that horror movie for a bunch of episodes, ultimately get to the point where you're like, oh, yep, he got the army.
Yep.
It never really felt like, to me, that I know it was all for him to go, well, this is the reason why you would bend the knee to her. Like, you're no longer playing outside. You're not outside the lines. You're on Team Rainier now, and you needed to like be scared to do it.
Yeah.
But it was just like kind of boring. And then this witch chick who she may or may not play a role later down the line, but it was just kind of like, well, it just feels like, what was the point of all this?
Yeah.
But I did love the scene where he thinks he's gonna punk that little fish boy, and that kid was like on it.
Nope.
One of my favorite scenes of the season, because that guy was just like, if you want this fucking army, do what I fucking say.
Go kill this guy.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh shit, this kid knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Whoever that actor is, he's fantastic.
Yeah. I think my favorite character of the season is what's her fucking name? Brunette queen lady.
Allison,
yes. She went from like, fuck you, I have the right, to really going, ooh, did I get this wrong?
Yeah.
Did I fuck up? Ooh, I did fuck up. And instead of just going, oh well, I'm gonna just own it, or not own it, she owns up to it and like, yeah, you could kill my son. I know, I get it, but we gotta do the right thing. And then cut to son is being shepherded out from the castle.
Yeah. I think another difference between Hot D and Game of Thrones, or Got, Hot D and Got, is if I feel like every season of Game of Thrones, and I know we're only 2 seasons into Hot D, but there was multiple moments of just like, wow, what an iconic scene, what a great moment, and all that kind of stuff. Where I feel like this season there was 2. It was Murdered Baby, and which is a crazy way to open up a season. And then the dragon fight.
Oh no! And then also the who's gonna claim the last dragon, and then it was just like owning all the half-blood people.
That scene was. I didn't think it was like a crazy great moment, but it's a moment I liked. I think that's the thing that is actually saving the show, and it is the dragon shit. Because anytime the dragons show up, they look great. I like that they all have their own different designs and they're all different colors.
Yeah.
And you know who's who relatively easily. And I think when they're used in like scary ways is when they're like the coolest. Just like I just imagine looking at it like a fucking elephant, the most gentle creature on this planet, but like 10 times that size. You'd be horrified. It's a fucking kaiju monster that breathes fire and flies. I fucking love dragons. They're the greatest fantasy creature. And just Vermithor like slowly crawling up and just his head slowly moving like out of the shadows. It's like, that is so fucking scary.
That's Michael Myers emerging from the shadows.
Yeah. All the dragon shit is awesome.
Cool.
Vagar is also scary shit. Just the fucking zombie dragon's a cool. He's more scary than the actual zombie dragon from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just from his sheer size and just they're all cool designs. The dragons
they really
are the shit. Anyway, enough fangirling over dragons. Let's move on.
Yeah. So last week, what our main topic would have been if we recorded, but since we had the bracket, we didn't need to record last week. So it was Borderlands and Cuckoo. You said you wouldn't watch Borderlands. Understandable.
I almost didn't care enough to watch Cuckoo, but the trailer I thought was an effective trailer, so I was like, I'll give that a shot.
Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens, which Dan Stevens is having a good year. He's got Abigail. He's got this.
Kong.
Oh yeah, Kong. I forgot about that. And then Solar Opposites is back.
Yep.
So good season for him, or a good year for him. But Cuckoo, ooh, this is a weird one. A family goes up to a retreat in the mountains
of Germany.
Yes, thank you. Because the dad and the mom are like architects and they're gonna revitalize it, or they have revitalized it.
No, they're building a different hotel, I believe, for the owner of this current hotel, Dan Stevens. They had vacationed here like 6 years ago, whatever. And so that's how they knew Dan Stevens. And Dan Stevens was like, hey, why don't you and your family move up here? build me this hotel, and then,
Yeah.
you know.
And it
we'll
was
all
like
hang out.
a magical visit because she got pregnant while they
Mhm.
were up there. But the father has a daughter from a previous marriage,
Mhm.
Hunter Schafer. She's not too thrilled about this. She had to leave.
Her
Um,
mom died,
her mom died.
and so she had to go to the custody of the dad, and dad's like,
Yeah.
"We're moving here," and that's
Yep.
why she's here.
She's not bonding with her stepmom or her stepsister. She's not too happy with this. Takes a job at working at the front desk and just starts noticing things are kind of kooky. You got people throwing up all
Kind of
over the
cuckoo.
place. Oh yeah. uh, and she tries to like bail with some rando. They get into a car accident because someone from Don't Worry, Darling is like in the middle of the road. There's a spooky thing going on.
Yeah.
Just to spoil it, there's these creatures that live in the woods called cuckoo something something. It's like part of their scientific name, and they look like humans, kinda. They look more like long legs.
Nah, they just look like humans.
But like waxy. There's something off about them. I think the costume that they're wearing, they like, got little bonnets and sunglasses and
It's
like a
really just the
raincoat.
one, isn't it? I mean, there's the
That's
other girl who shows up from the very opening of the film, but she just kind of looks like zombie chick. The only one who like it's only the other woman we
yeah,
really
but it's
see.
not like we see 20 of them.
No,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
so it's just weird to see in that outfit, like of all things
Yeah.
for them to wear. But they are another species that they come and impregnate humans so they can reproduce.
Mhm.
And Dan Stevens is trying to strengthen their population. They're like a dying breed, and every generation gets stronger and stronger. And they do like a banshee scream, and it makes you time loop for a few seconds. And
We're getting all over the
yeah,
place. Well, Ben, what did you think of this movie?
I thought this was just okay. I was a little disappointed. I think this is really fun concept
Mm-hmm.
that maybe isn't executed perfectly.
I pretty much agree. I didn't really care for this movie all that much. But I would say that I think it has an interesting idea
Mm-hmm.
that just doesn't ultimately like lead to anything.
Yeah.
Because up until the exposition dump where that explains like what's going on, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's moments in the film where it kind of like repeats itself because this creature is doing this banshee scream that like fucks with your head, and you're like, is there like time manipulation in this movie? And it's not that. It's just like I'm giving you basically a concussion,
Yeah.
and you're just like kind of realizing like I've been here before.
This is what it feels like to be confused.
Yeah.
You know, to be disoriented, and to show that visually, you just kind of repeat the last couple of seconds over and over again.
The scream scrambles your brain so you can pass out, and then they can impregnate you. Yeah. Dan Stevens is like your evil, mad German scientist where he's just like, I'm not a bad guy. I'm just like, this is conservation efforts. And it's like, okay, well, is this thing an alien? Is it a eldritch being from another realm? It's like, no, it's always been on Earth. It's just an animal that's so rare that Dan Stevens is like, all right, I'll murder people so they can like live because I want to. This is a creature and it's part of the planet, so let's keep it around. But they don't really like explain what it is, how it has its powers, how that works, how they almost died out, or how they found them. You get none of that, and then like the movie is also marketed as a horror film. It's not really scary at all. There's maybe like two
creepy moments.
There's a moment here or there that I think is like kind of effective, but I wouldn't say it's like downright scary. But your monster, your big monster is just like a fucking middle-aged woman in a trench coat. It's who just screams. It's not like her mouth like opens in a sort of interesting Blade 2 vampire way or whatever. It's just like, oh nope, that is just Karen is coming after me. So it's just kind of dumb to me. I
had a solution that it'd just be something if Dan Stevens said these things are dying out and they're the only thing that keep another creature at bay. Like there's these crazy worms, giant killer worms in the mountain, and every 10 years they come out and they ravish the land. They will like go nuts and wipe out huge swaths of the population. But if we have these cuckoos there, they do the screen thing and they keep them at bay.
Mhm.
But they've been dying out just because of, you know, developing areas and like they're obvious in suburbia and they get hit by cars and whatever it is. But I'm trying to purposely breed them because if I don't, something even worse will
Sure.
come.
Okay.
But they're just there, and I'm trying to save them because I don't know, I'm a conservationist.
Yeah.
That's not a good enough reason.
Yeah, the cuckoo term comes from the bird. Like he was, I think he like really like was a bird guy or whatever,
because
and
there's
those
a
bird that
puts its eggs in your nest so it could be raised by other birds.
yeah.
You know, kick out the other babies.
But I mean, like the way to defeat the monster in this movie is just cover your ears.
Yep.
And then there's a whole thing with like this disgraced detective who's like trying to uncover this conspiracy, and I forget why he was was he drunk and killed a person, or did he go like, oh no, there's crazy cuckoo monsters in the woods, like we need to stop this, police chief, and they're just like, you're crazy, you're out of here. But like I didn't care about that guy, and his like he always just came off kind of creepy to me. Not that he ever did anything like weird, but it's just kind of like, why the fuck is this guy here? That being said, I think Dan Stevens is great in this. I think Dan Stevens is great in everything. He's
Pretty
just
much
the best part of anything.
Yeah.
So good to see him in this. He's kind of like the one saving this movie a little bit.
I think Hunter Schafer does a good job. I love Hunter Schafer.
I think it's a fine performance. It didn't really... There were scenes where I'm like, man, Hunter Schafer is good. And there's other scenes like, I feel like Hunter Schafer's just like phoning it in the scene.
Okay.
And maybe that's just kind of her character of just kind of being like indifferent. This is beneath me. I'm bored in this German town. But yeah, I wish I cared about her relationship with her younger sister, because that's kind of a big thing in the movie. Is the sister is one of these creatures, or like a sort of
like the next evolution.
Yeah, because their pregnancy was part of the subplot of like when she got pregnant, it was through this program or whatever. And so the Karen monster is after the sister because it like recognizes its own kind of thing.
It's gonna take her and run off into the woods.
But like Hunter Schafer has a heart-to-heart with her sister who doesn't speak either, and then it's just kind of like, well, I wish I believed you liked each other and like you really cared for her in this like final moment. It just seems like you're just, oh, I like you now because I have to, because this thing's gonna kill you. It's like, you never liked this kid at all, and you've done nothing to like build a relationship in this movie where it's like, will they, won't they work it out? It's just like, oh no, I like you now. She
says like, oh, stay away from my sister, and it felt weird, like, oh, you're calling her your sister now? Because
early in the movie you're like, oh yeah, that's not my sister, she's a fucking bitch. So,
and I guess that's character growth and blah blah blah, but it just felt like not earned.
So I think there's something here that could have been cool, but it didn't work for me.
Same.
C-. I'll never watch this movie again. I wouldn't recommend it to people because it's fucking weird. I wouldn't really recommend it to horror fans because it's not all that scary. I would just say if you're a tween who likes Hunter Schafer, check it out. It might be up your alley if you like weird shit, but it just wasn't for me.
It's a shame. Like, there was 3 horror movies I was really excited for. It was this, Longlegs, and Maxine, and all 3 of them kind of came up short. Longlegs is definitely the best out of all of them, but I was so hyped for it, and I heard so much like, this is the scariest thing of all time and blah blah blah. My expectations were just through the roof, and all 3 of them didn't live up to those expectations.
Longlegs,
that's on me.
Longlegs is the scariest. Maxine's the most fun. Cuckoo is the most disappointing.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. 2 things. One, when she was trapped under the bookshelf and she couldn't like reach her earpods or whatever, I thought she was gonna stab her own ears to make herself deaf, and then she would be immune to the cuckoo. But then it didn't happen. Like, oh, that seems like something fucked up that should have happened. I
like that idea. I think I would have, me personally, I was like, no, I'm not going to stab my own ears. It's not that big a deal. I'll just let it kill me. Because the pain wouldn't be worth it. Just let me die. I know that doesn't make sense because, like, well, this thing's going to, like, eat your throat or whatever. But
I think
the bike scene was definitely the most effective.
Oh, with the shadow?
With the shadow.
Oh, that was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I think Hunter Schafer will be one of those obscure Halloween costumes of horror heads where you put a little
Oh,
bandana
okay. Yeah.
on with a little blood. You put put your arm in a sling with like a purple jacket.
A Shaun of the Dead kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something real simple. Everyone goes, "Who are you?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm Miss Cuckoo." I don't remember her character's name. All right. Anything else about Cuckoo?
Nah. Don't see it.
Nah.
Or at least don't pay to see it. Actually, if you're gonna see it, pay to see it. Support smaller
small
films.
Horror movies, yeah.
Go to the cinema. Support theaters in general.
Did you see Longlegs is over 100 million in box? It's
good for
highest
them.
grossing A24.
That's good
movie.
marketing, though.
Yeah,
Cuckoo had zero marketing.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
It's a shame. But want to talk to someone that has like crazy marketing. I can't get away from the fucking trailers for our next movie, Alien Romulus. Especially now that it's out, it's like every YouTube ad is Alien Romulus. Every on TV, I'm seeing so much for it. And as a big Alien fan, Aliens is my favorite movie of all time. I was pretty hyped for this.
Just so everyone's clear, Aliens, the second one,
yes,
is Ben's favorite movie of all time.
It is the best. It is the best movie of all time. And like I've seen Don't Breathe and the Evil Dead reboot, and both
I have not. This is my first.
Fede Alvarez.
Actually, no.
You saw Evil Dead, I thought.
I saw the first Evil Dead. Did he do the newest one?
The new one.
Okay, never mind. I saw the first one.
Yeah.
So I have seen.
So like, even though I don't see anything in those movies that say this guy should direct an Alien movie, I was okay with that choice. Yeah. I'll ask you first. Did you like this movie?
I did like this movie.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed the Alien franchise. 1 and 2 are obviously great. I know you're a strong defender of 3. I thought 3 is mediocre. Prometheus, tons of cool ideas, visually fantastic, but like not all that fun or enjoyable. And I did not see Covenant. And am I missing any? I mean, we're not counting AVPs. Yeah. We're not counting. So there's one Alien film I haven't seen.
Yeah. Well, you said you haven't seen Covenant?
I haven't seen Covenant, yeah.
And Resurrection. You haven't seen 4.
Is 4 still have Ripley in it?
Yeah. She's a clone.
Okay.
And it has Winona Ryder and Ron Perlman.
Sure. Then I haven't seen 4 in Covenant.
You say sure, like 4 doesn't count.
No one remembers 4.
Everyone remembers 4. They'll start remembering it now, especially after this movie, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
So yeah, same with me. I love the Alien movies. Big defender of 3. 3's great. It's a big bummer, sure, especially if you're marathoning it and you watch it right after 2. I could understand why people would hate it. 4 is very bizarre. I really don't like Prometheus at all. I think it's actually pretty bad as an Alien movie, but as a science fiction movie, it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
It looks good. It's a beautiful movie. Great sound.
One of the best trailers I've ever seen. Like that trailer, I was like, I am not an Alien person, but I was like, I can't fucking wait to see this thing.
It's incredibly beautiful, and it's a really fun sci-fi movie, but adding to the Alien lore, I think it does a real bad job. I applaud Ridley Scott for trying something different, but he asks more questions than he answers. Then when Covenant comes around, he still doesn't answer the question and actually takes a detour to tell another story, because Alien Covenant is the worst one. It's dog shit. It's really bad. It's still
of all the aliens.
All the alien, I would say it's worse than any of the AVPs too, just because it has good effects. And it's not even like the ships, the planet looks good. The aliens look weird. Like, in Spider-Verse, how they talk about like, oh, we filmed these on the 2s and these on the 3s and these on the 4s to give everybody a different sort of effect. The aliens all feel like they are shot differently than the people, so they seem really jittery. And it doesn't work. And it's like, if you thought the people in Prometheus were dumb, the dumbest scientists ever, wait till you see Covenant.
I'm not gonna, so.
Idiots. Absolute morons. And the story is dog shit. It's so bad. And so I think of Prometheus and Covenant as fan fiction.
Okay.
They're not canon. They don't have anything to do with the Alien series. AVP and AVP2 are just kind of like you could say that's fan fiction, but that's just like, it's its own thing. It's fine. It doesn't affect the canon of anything. So whatever. It's just the main four.
Okay.
And then now we have Romulus, which takes a little something from everything. It is pretty much just Alien 1 again, but with a younger crew. It's a blue collar crew just trying to, like do a job. Like in the first one, they just are answering the call, and this one, they're just like trying to get out of their situation. Devolves into aliens with a lot of action and guns.
Mm-hmm.
They come from a planet that is like, and working for the Weyland-Yutani company is very much like Alien 3. It's like a prison, pretty much. Then you get to Alien Resurrection, where you have a weird hybrid clone baby alien in it, but instead of being like a human alien hybrid, you now get a engineer alien hybrid, and it takes so that's a little bit from Prometheus and Covenant, and you get the black goo again. It takes a little bit of every single Alien movie and jams it into something that is really disappointing. This movie kind of sucks. It's
Really?
kind of
Wow.
actually bad.
Okay.
The first 40 minutes is pretty great. I really liked it until they dig up the corpse of Ian Holm and put him on display. The moment that happens, it took me out of the movie so quickly. One, stop taking dead actors and putting their faces on things. It's disrespectful. And if you're gonna do it, make it look good. Fucking Tarkin in Rogue One looked better than this. It was one of the worst effects. And in a movie that is really good looking, that has a lot of good practical and digital effects, this was terrible looking. And it took me out, and then it devolves into references and callbacks and stealing from the other movies, that it is so unoriginal that I can feel myself getting madder and madder throughout. And not oh, how dare you disrespect the other Alien movies by stealing that, because all the movies take a little bit of something from each other.
Sure.
But I just couldn't care anymore. The further and further it went on, there's some really good scenes that, taken out, stand on their own, but as a whole, I don't think this is a very good movie. One of my biggest disappointments of the year.
Wow, that is shocking. I mean, if anyone's going to be the most critical of this series, I know it's going to be you, because it is the series you love so much. Which also seems a little weird, considering it just seems like you really love 3 of them and then you hate everything else.
I really love the first 4. I like Alien Resurrection. It's very different. It's kind of sillier. It's not as neat looking. The aliens are kind of like extra goopy, but they do something different. It's very different than all the other Alien movies. It's everything after Resurrection that is kind of dog shit.
Okay.
And I mean, I would say Prometheus is probably better than this, just as a movie. But at least this has like actual aliens in it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's low tier.
Oh, okay. Well, now that you've gotten that rant off, let's break down the movie a little bit. Did you like any of the characters at all?
Rain is fine. That actress is also kind of having a
big year for yeah. I think her name's Kaylee Spearley, something like that. Spini, whatever. Kaylee.
She does a fine job, but she's just another Ripley. It's I'm not saying like, oh, it should be a guy as your lead. It's just so boring to have another brunette white girl. The only time it's ever been different is the AVP series, where it's a black woman in the first one, and it's actually a group of people, but it is a dude who's kind of the lead of AVP too. And that movie's not very good, so who really cares? But all of them are just white, short-haired brunette ladies, and it's dull. I don't know. Get a blonde Hispanic lady. Or an Asian lady. If it has to be a woman, just switch it up a bit. But I think she does a good job. I think her android, once he becomes corporate-y and smart, I enjoyed him a lot more.
Yeah.
When he's dad joke version,
Yeah.
I did not care for him.
Okay.
I think the actor does a good job of flipping between those
Yeah.
two, but the character
Definitely does the
didn't
most
care for
acting
it.
of the group, I feel like.
Absolutely. When it comes to everybody else, you know, the pregnant one who was in Madam Web, she's fine. The Asian lady, barely in it, she's fine. She's just badass pilot. The two guys, okay. Can we get people who can enunciate what they're saying? They're British.
Mhm.
And I couldn't understand a goddamn thing either one of them said through most of the movie.
The main one I never really had an issue with, but the other guy, there was definitely moments I'm like, I don't know what the fuck he just said.
When he talks to what's the robot's name?
Andy.
Andy. And he tells him, "We're gonna leave you behind."
Mhm.
I'm glad that conversation continued and they discussed it because I did not catch that at all.
Mhm.
Uh, the British UK accent is one of the grossest and most annoying to listen to. I hate British people's accent. They wish they could be Australian. Like Australian is the best one, but British people, unless it like you watch Game of Thrones and it's Sophie Turner. I have no problem understanding her. There's a refinedness to it. But when it's that Eastern European kind of street urchin, like it's the worst.
Okay.
And I'm glad he died in a very horrible death. I just wish it came a little earlier because I couldn't understand what's in water. What's in the water?
Please, sir, I want some more.
It's the worst.
Yeah. Okay. So do you like that it was a group of kids, or do you feel like
I like the younger cast?
Okay, yeah, I do too.
It's not just okay. We had Marines, we've had scientists. I like that they were just normal people,
Mhm.
but I have problems with the story. So they're normal people. They're indentured servants to the
Mhm.
Weyland-Yutani Company, but they have their own spaceship and they can go off planet. They would like allow them to, or is it just well they can't get far, they have to come back? So that's kind
Yeah,
of
because
weird.
my guess is that nobody has cryopods, so it's like either they're going to come back or they're going to fly off, they're going to
And
die,
they're
and then
gonna
we just go
die.
retrieve the thing. And I think that my guess is they're doing something with that ice ring, and so like,
Yeah, if their job is, hey,
I mean, I know
they
they're
let
part of the
us
mine, but
use this ship because I do transports or whatever,
whatever
and we're
reason, yeah.
stealing the ship, but it seemed like they lived out of it. They just were kind of hanging out with it. It just seemed like it was company property.
I imagine it is.
And so why do they have access? But whatever, I could overlook that.
Yeah, well,
No big deal.
for story purposes, we'll overlook that. I'm not worried
One
about
thing
it.
I don't understand is they're talking about this space station, this derelict space station that they're going to go in and steal the pods. I thought it was like far away. It's just flying above the planet
Right above them.
and no one's gonna like there was not a distress call that the people who are just miles below them would come up and help or try to retrieve it, try to get any sort of information from it, or are we just saying well, the smog is so bad they couldn't look up. Like, they have detection systems. It's way in the future. They're living on a different planet. They don't know that there's a space station just floating up there. No one on the planet knows that. That I don't get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not too privy to science 700 years in the future, but and even though some of that technology seems to have devolved a little bit,
It's that dirty 70s sci-fi.
yeah. No, I get it. But yeah, there's
Better
definitely
than
some
Hollow
things that
Stones.
you kind of have to go like, I don't know if this 100% makes sense. But once again, didn't really bother me. But it does raise a question like, someone should probably know this. Like these kids shouldn't have been able to be the first ones to pick it up.
On there. If it was a different company and it's on a different frequency than the Weyland-Yutani, and so they're flying blind because it's a special black ops thing, and we happen to spot it. Okay, but it's a Weyland-Yutani ship, so
yeah, everyone. It seems like the entire galaxy is just run by this company,
yes.
So they just
which I really like that beginning of her trying to cash out her hours, and then they're like, "Oh nope, sorry,
raise
here's a
the
bunch
quota."
more." It reminded me of In Time with Justin Timberlake, where he
Yeah.
did the same thing, and it was like, "Oh, I like this."
Low key solid movie.
Yeah, not terrible. I like seeing a different side because all we've ever seen of Weyland-Yutani is just let's get the alien, turn it into a bioweapon, just big evil company. But what else do they do?
Right. So, I mean, I, for the most part, enjoyed this movie. I think you're right that the first 40 minutes or an hour or so is definitely the best, and the most interesting.
I'd say it stops getting interesting at the chest burster. Like,
Mhm.
it crosses over with the Ian Holm, Ash, or quote unquote Rook.
Yeah.
There's a little bit like, okay, I can deal with this, but then after the chest burster comes out, it goes downhill. It's like after the face hugger scene in the water, that's pretty effective. I really enjoyed that. Everything after that, nah.
Yeah. If I have 3 complaints about the movie, I think it's 3. Let me gather my thoughts here. One, I agree. You didn't need to bring Ian Holm in here. You could have had any actor do it, and it would have been just as effective. It was just like, oh look, we're bringing a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
There's not like there's little nods, but if you're not an Alien fan, you wouldn't really get it. But like you'll recognize this guy.
This is the
But
bad one.
in a movie that is so well, let me just say positives. I think production design, fantastic. Special effects, fantastic, with the exception of this.
Okay.
I think from a technical, I think the score is pretty solid. I think the sound design is probably its best feature in this movie. I think on a technical level, this movie is fantastic. And if it wasn't up against Dune, good chance of winning some Oscars.
Okay.
I think Dune's gonna just crush them all. But
just because of that thumping sand thing, that's all.
That's all you need. But. And as I'm so glad I played Dead Space in the past, because it's just like, this is the Dead Space vibe kind of thing.
Especially we'll talk about it later, but the 0G acid felt like a
but I was shocked at how fast everyone died off, and then it kind of just became like the last 2 survivors. And I mean, Isabel, or the pregnant one.
Yeah, but she's off camera.
Yeah, but she's off camera for a large chunk. So I don't really count her, because then it just became, well, we're gonna kill off all these people real quick, and then it just becomes like a survival thing. But yeah, so the Ian Holm thing, I didn't like. It just felt once they defeated the aliens and got on the ship, got in the cryopods, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But then it goes on for another like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I didn't care at this point, because I didn't like, I think the creature looked cool. It was seeing that thing come to life would be horrifying in the real world. I think that is an effective, scary monster. But I didn't like its inclusion in the movie.
It didn't fit. And it's the black goo that Ian Holmes was like, oh, we extracted it from the face huggers. And we don't need to tie it around back to Prometheus. If anything, we need to be wiping that from the slate. And because it needs to steal from any movie possible, like, we're introducing too much. We don't need black goo and engineer monsters and aliens and face huggers. It's just, you're trying to just redo it. It's been called like the Force Awakens of the Alien movies, where we're just rehashing the same shit for a new audience. But you don't need to rehash all 4 movies.
Yeah. I didn't. Well, yeah. So let me continue. The monster, it's just like I didn't need it in there, especially its growth rate is so. I don't like. I need that thing to just slowly build and be this looming threat over the movie. It's like, oh, it's gaining more powers, or it's getting bigger, and it's killing more people because it's become stronger. But it's just like, nope. I am maybe a month, because she's not. It's not like she's super pregnant. It's. The baby, like, I just found out I was pregnant. I'm a month in, and then in 2 minutes, it's a fully formed baby, and then 4 minutes after that, it is a fucking 11-foot tall horror creature. It's just the growth rate I didn't like.
Now, if you go back to Alien 1, they do say like this alien killed the entire crew within 24 hours. So after the chest burst, and a couple minutes later, you see its skin, and then you see that it's big. But it feels more earned, where this is just instantaneous. We don't ever see the alien grow, except in this one. We do get a little bit more lore. It was always Chestburster comes out, we find the skin, and then it's full grown. This, we actually get to see like these little pods that it makes in the wall, these vaginas.
The fucking acid vaginas.
Yeah, the spike tail vaginas. Which so I'm cool with that because I've always wondered, like, do they shed and do they grow like the Hulk, or do they shed multiple times? And we've only really found the skin one time. So having rapid growth doesn't bother me as much, but that thing at the end, it was within seconds.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm okay with like, okay, it grows from, chest burster to a fully fledged monster in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I can kind of get behind, especially since we see different periods of it. It starts out as a face hugger, then it becomes a chest burster, and then it goes to the pod, and then it comes out and it's like maybe a kid version, and then
it's probably just still growing, but
and then over the next hour or two, it just becomes fully formed.
Yeah.
That's just it's tadpole to frog or whatever. We get something there, but to just go like, nope, it's the enhanced virus thing that she injects, and it already had a living thing, so it just made it sound whatever. It was sci-fi mumbo bullshit. I didn't care for it, especially in a movie where the one thing I loved about this movie is that it's like real time. So from when they're on the ship, they're like, we have 45 minutes or whatever, and from the 45-minute mark to when they hit the, when they're like, we have 45 minutes till it starts crashing.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, are there parts in it where like, I think we're kind of skimping on like the travel aspect of it, but there is the stakes of we're real time.
Sure.
There's a real time crunch to it. And then you get to the end where it's just like, well, this movie has 10 minutes left. We're just going to throw this monster in there and we have to make it grow instantly. And it doesn't feel earned. Yeah. So that's why I don't like that.
And for them, they can say, well, aliens grow fast and this is a black goo thing. And she was already pregnant. So we don't really know what the rules are. So that's just what happened. And we just have to accept it. I guess.
Yeah. It just feels like in a franchise that seems to do so much work with like moderately accurate science, real world science, to sort of like, this is how it would work and how we would, airlocks and whatever and zero gravity, all that stuff, it works. And then you're just like, well, this thing doesn't actually exist, so we can write whatever rules we want to tell the story. And I get it.
I get it.
And I want to let it go, but it's so fast. It's hard for me.
I let that go. The one that bothers me is the pilot gets a face hugger. They get it off really quick. Usually it's like a day that you have the face hugger on. And then within an hour or two, the chest burster happens. And it's on her face for 10 minutes. And then it chest bursts 10 minutes after that. It's a little too quick for me. And I know this isn't a slow-paced movie like Alien where we can build to it. It's one of those established franchise things. So we all know the inevitable outcome of this.
Yeah.
So let's just fucking get on with it. I get that. But it started like with AVP1. Like, face huggers are on you for a second. The moment they fall off your face, you're already chest bursting. And like Alien 3, it takes a long time because it's a queen, so maybe it needs time to gestate, or she was frozen. Maybe it takes time. There's rules to it. But this is just, it's a little too quick. And I thought they were going to do something unique with the pregnant girl. What happens when a face hugger gets on someone who's already pregnant? Does it absorb the fetus? Do they have a battle royale inside? What happens? But we don't get that. It's black goo, and the black goo could do anything, as we've seen in Prometheus, and it does, and it makes the weirdest fucking thing we've seen. It, like, people hate on the hybrid in Alien Resurrection. I think they need to apologize. That the hybrid is disgusting looking, but it's supposed to be, because an alien human hybrid, it's not going to be pretty. And this, I think they wanted it to be cool, scary, but cool. And I don't think it works. I think the hybrid is a lot cooler because depending on how you light it, like if light is hitting the eyes, it looks really sympathetic and pathetic. But then when you take away and it's just dark holes, it looks very, very menacing. It's a really interesting creature compared to this one. And then I
haven't seen Resurrection, so I can't.
You should
comment.
It's very different than every other Alien movie.
Sorry. Let me see. What else do I have here?
I because recently, in gearing up for this, I rewatched Covenant first because I don't think I had rewatched it since the theater, and still dog shit, awful, really, really bad movie. And I'm like, I'll rewatch Prometheus. Enjoyed it, but still doesn't answer any questions, and also not very good. Uh, and then my roommate, talking to her, she hadn't seen any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I think I saw Alien versus Predator. And like, wow, what one to start on. So she saw Alien Romulus without seeing any of the others, but it's like knowing Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in the culture. You know what a facehugger does. You know what a chest that it comes from your chest. So I don't think she was like super surprised with anything in Romulus. But I was like, nah, we got to watch it. So I made her rewatch Alien, and then today we watched Aliens. She's in my camp. She likes Aliens more just because it's, it's quick and it's fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
But in the process of watching those, I like took some notes of things that are that some of them I noticed while watching Romulus, and some of them I didn't pick up until rewatching these. But I made a list of just like gripes and callbacks and things like that. So can I just go through that?
Sure, why not?
All right. The mention of cornbread when they meet up at the beginning. Andy offers her his cornbread, or mentions cornbread. That's in Alien and Aliens. I'm surprised there's so much talk of cornbread.
Okay.
And then also there's the water drinking bird that'll stay on the table. That's an Alien. Why? It's little things like this that, oh look, that's the thing from the thing. It doesn't have any like significance, but it's here just because it was there.
Yeah.
And it's just unnecessary. In Romulus, there's a part where there's like a low blue light on the ground, just like in Alien 1. There's a blue light covering the eggs that they have to cross through to get to it. It's just a little visual cue.
But it never explains what the purpose of that is for, right?
It's
just
aesthetic.
a cool aesthetic. Yeah. Okay.
She's wearing the same fucking shoes Ripley is wearing in Aliens, the red and white Reeboks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that means Aliens takes place 60 years after Alien, and this is 20 years after Alien.
Mm-hmm.
So so Ripley is wearing 40-year-old shoes that came out in Romulus. If they were brand new in Romulus, she has them 40 years later, like that comes back in style, or I don't know. It's another one of those things. Look, you remember this? You remember those shoes? I mean, this one's kind of stupid, but like in Alien, she has to blow up the ship. She has to read the instructions on how to.
Yep.
Rain does the same thing. She wants to drop out the bottom of the thing,
the cargo bay,
and read the instructions for it. It's very similar. Get away from her, you bitch. Come on. That was so out of place. There was no reason for Andy to say that. If he said bitch a couple other times, or someone called him a bitch.
That seems like the kind of thing like, oh, I'm teaching a robot a fun word he can't say. Yeah.
Then it would make more sense, but it doesn't work in this scene. Like, there's a reason Ripley is saying it, because she's taking care of Newt. She lost her daughter. She's fighting the queen who has its own children. It makes total sense.
I don't remember that line, but the second you said it, I was like, that's definitely a comeback line.
Don't remember that line.
I haven't seen Aliens in like
the line
12 years, my man.
It's like Hasta La Vista, baby. It is the line. Whenever they do any sort of like, I remember in the Oscars, and they were showing just like clips from movies of the ages. That's the scene they show from Aliens.
Yep, didn't recall it.
Fuck you.
This is your scene, man, not mine.
Okay, so let me talk about Ash, or Rook, I should say. I think it would make more sense to have either Bishop or David, because like Bishop would have been the newer model after Ash. Ash, they even say in Aliens that those models were a little buggy, and they probably would have been discontinued. And this is 20 years after Alien, so there's a good chance that it should have been discontinued. And when you name it Rook, that's another chess piece like a bishop. So why wouldn't that model version just be different? Like, oh, this is the knight and the pawn and the bishop and the rook. It doesn't make sense to name Ash Rook. Name him Ember or something like that. Have a theme. But the David model is even older than all of them, because that takes place before Alien.
Okay.
So Like, if you're gonna have an older model, use David. That would have been a fun cameo. If you want to tie it into those movies, ignore the black goo and get Michael Fassbender back for that.
Yeah.
That would have been much, much better.
Yeah,
And they're
I'd be
alive.
excited to see Michael Fassbender.
Yeah. Using Ian Holm is only because he was the bad robot from that first one. So, and this kind of takes place right after the first one. So you got to have that bad robot. But before I go on with the rest of my list, the intro, how'd you feel about how they got the alien? They just fly out and they find a rock in the wreckage of the Nostromo and they bring it back. One, Nostromo was like nuked to hell. There's no pieces left.
Mhm.
And if so, you're in space, everything gets shot in different directions, none of them clump up. So you wouldn't find that. And then the alien was in a rock. I didn't get it at first. I'm just assuming because they secrete, they're so wet, and they put it on the walls, and that's how they stick people and they cocoon them. I assumed when an alien's in space like that, it would have just overly secreted and put itself in a rock so it can survive.
Sure.
But there's no lore for that as far as I know.
Mhm.
So it's kind of weird that they're even able to do that. So they find the alien, they cut open the rock, whether it's alive or dead, I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's alive because we see it hanging from the ceiling. It was the one that like dripped all over the place. I'm assuming
It was either that or whatever they were testing on grew a new one. Yeah.
But then how do you get the facehuggers? Queen's laid facehuggers. If they found an alien, how did they get the facehuggers from an alien?
Science?
Yeah. There is a little bit of an explanation that's in the alien deleted scenes that the original lore was before they even, because James Cameron thought of the Queen for the sequel, it would be that the alien would grab you, cocoon you to a wall, and the cocooning would start to like break your body down and turn you into an egg.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have another face hugger. So it could have been something like that, but
well, yeah, because you had all the crew in that horror hallway or whatever, which is like,
and they were all impregnated.
Yeah,
and they got a bunch of aliens. But how did you get that first face hugger? You know,
I don't know enough about aliens to argue with you.
And I think they're like things with like ants or bees, where if the queen dies, one will go through a change to become the queen, and like maybe the aliens could do that too. But we never see a queen in this, so I don't know. So it's just another one of those things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ash said something like, "Oh, you have my sympathies." That's something you said in the first one. Also, I prefer to be called an artificial person, not an android. That's something Bishop said in Aliens, that he says like, so do all the androids feel the same way? And I think besides the hybrid being similar in 4. And then 2, she had a flamethrower, and then she had like a frost thrower. And we even get shots of like her coming out of the elevator with her gun. It's exactly like Aliens. Having her boyfriend dude show her how to use the gun. It's exactly like Aliens. It's like shot for shot, so specific that it's not even an homage. It's just stealing.
Yeah. It's like you have to, when you're the director, to get the job, you have to prove like, oh, I did my research, and it's clear I did my research because I threw all these things in. It's like, well, you could just tell an original story and have like, we know it's an alien movie because we're here for the fucking alien.
Yep.
Like I assume Mother is a thing that was in all the other ones. Like have Mother because that's the computer system. That means nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing all this extra stuff. Now I didn't catch any of this because other than the "you bitch" line or whatever, because it was so obvious that was a line from the thing.
Because it's so fucking out of place in this movie.
So to me, it didn't hurt the film to the layman, but to an Alien fan, maybe that would excite them, or maybe it would just annoy them. But I don't really know. But the more you're talking about it, it's bumming me out because but like you're so passionate about it. But just from an outsider perspective, as someone who has missed a few, who hasn't seen 1 or 2 even in a long time, none of that stuff bothered me. Uh, I had a good time with this. I like sci-fi movies. I liked how this movie looked and
Hmm.
sounded and felt. Um, while I didn't care about any of the cast in particular, I liked all the young actors. Uh, it just feels like I think he's kind of like, and you said it earlier. It's Force Awakens. It's
Hmm.
like this is the J.J. Abramsification of this franchise. What he did with Star Wars or Star Trek. It's like you took a hot young cast, put them in this franchise, and you made a fun film, but you didn't do anything all that interesting with it.
Yep.
You can make the argument. I was like, oh well, look at this human hybrid thing, but it's like that's honestly like the worst part of the fucking movie,
Hmm.
because you have such great creatures like the face huggers and the alien themselves are probably the
Amazing.
best horror movie
Yes.
monster ever.
Hmm.
I'll back you up on that, Ben.
Hmm.
I think they're great. From a scary design to like the actual like how they function,
Hmm.
them little guys like running around, the face huggers running
Yeah.
around and jumping, horror shit. I like it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think I'm surprised you hated it as much as you did to put it at the very bottom of the Alien list,
Well,
really.
I'd
But
say it's better than Covenant,
okay, near the
and
bottom.
it's probably better than AVP 2 because that movie is so filled with such bad actors. And I mean, you want to talk about like callbacks to other thing, but it's so dark you
Mm,
can't see anything. They
sure.
they have no lighting in it, so you have this predator versus pred alien hybrid. This should be so cool, and it's so dark you can't see anything. If you can see the things in that movie, I'd probably rank that higher. But yeah, Romulus is relatively. I'm gonna battle if it's better than Prometheus or not because Prometheus just looks so damn good, has
I mean,
amazing
I think this movie
actors
looks
in
great
it.
too. When they're flying the ship up and stuff, it's like
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I can tell these are miniatures.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of jarring because like you don't see this kind of filmmaking
Yeah,
anymore, or at least not as much. But it's like I loved that they did that
I,
because
I
this, especially early on, this movie felt like an old movie.
yeah,
I think it looks great all the way through.
I would rewatch Aliens because I'm still so impressed with like there's some parts with the drop ship where it's flying through clouds that don't look too great, but when it's dropping the little fuck, I can't remember what it's called, but their little tank that comes out and then it takes off in the background, it looks real, but it's
Hmm.
all just like remote control, tiny. I
Yeah.
mean, quote unquote tiny, but all miniatures and bigatures, and it still holds up. And the queen fight with the power loader is still so incredibly impressive. Like my roommate was pretty blown away that like there's no CG in this. There's no such thing as like CG. It's all puppets and miniatures and hand rigged things, and it's just so incredibly impressive. And this does look really, especially like crashing into the rings of the planet. All that was really good.
Yeah.
But it's things like when the pilot is getting the chest bursted and she hits the controls and the thing is scraping along the ship and then just perfectly goes right into the docking bay and then they're able to fly that ship later, no
Yeah.
problem. Come on, that shit's so fucking stupid. Oh, forgot about this one. The end of the movie. Ah, we're safe. We killed all the aliens and the ship's crashing. We're going to get away. Put everybody in their pods. Let me get down to my underwear. An alien appears. I have to slip into a spacesuit to defeat it. It's exactly the same at the end of Alien. Like, exactly. Oh, man, the more I talk about it, the more I like. I gave this movie a C plus because I thought it looks very good.
Yeah.
But it may drop.
Mm.
I don't know if it's going to end up on my worst of the year, but it's definitely going on my most disappointed.
I mean, I don't remember how all the Alien movies ends, but what I
Mm-hmm.
do like about this film is that, because I thought, and this is the bummer of it, is that there was the whole super growth baby thing at the
Mm-hmm.
end, but they get in the pods, and I was like, okay, well, we know she injected herself. It's gonna like the spaceship's gonna fly off, and we're gonna know like, there's that classic horror thing where like, well, we need to tease some sort of like, oh, there's not a happy ending after
Yeah.
all thing. But then the movie continues, and it's like, oh no, so they defeat it, and they get away, and they get their happy ending. There isn't any like extra tag of
No.
The monster's still out there. The monster's coming for us. There's no like, it pans back. There's one piece of the ship that's still floating or whatever, and then you just see like an alien wrapped up. It's like, oh, what's
Yeah.
it? No, they're all dead. So
Well, Alien and Aliens both end happily. Like, I defeated it. I'm in my cryopod, and I hope I get rescued.
okay,
The end. But then it's always the start of the next one. Ah, shit! I'm in even worse trouble. This movie, I think, needed to end. They get in their cryopods, and she's happy. She puts everyone to sleep. Then you zoom to the pregnant one, and you see the stomach just bulge a little.
that's how I thought it was gonna
Leave
end.
it at that, because
But that's
wherever.
not what I wanted.
Oh no! See, I think that's great because then that sets it up for, well, wherever we're going, we think it's safe, but once we unthaw, I've now brought something with me, and
I
then that's
understand why
your
you would
next.
make that choice. It's just I've seen that choice
Sure,
800,000 times. At this point, just give me the fucking happy ending.
sure, yeah,
Because
okay,
it's is it a little boring? Maybe,
yeah,
but it's not the thing I've seen.
sure.
Like it's like I know there's going to be a little tag at the end.
Hmm.
Oh, the demon possessed somebody else. Oh, the there's the ghost
Is
is
now possessing this toy, and
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever, or the scary doll, it winks at the camera at
yeah,
the
yeah,
last
yeah.
shot, whatever the fuck it is.
Sure,
I'm tired of it. I
yeah.
don't need to see it. So I was just happy that there wasn't an additional alien thing that somehow survived. I didn't want to see it.
People shit on Alien 3 and 4 a lot, but I will say how they defeat their monsters are better than Alien and Aliens, because in both of those, it's just ejected out of the airlock.
Mm.
Like, I love the power loader fight, it's amazing, but she doesn't crush the head or anything. She just opens the airlock and the Queen Alien gets thrown out. But in Alien 3, covered it in molten lead and then douse it with water so it shatters. Really cool, very different. In the Alien Resurrection, put a little pinhole on a window when they're in space, and then the alien gets sucked up against it, and then it gets pulled through little chunk by chunk.
Oh shit.
It's brutal and it's amazing. It's one of the coolest deaths. And then this one was just more like, oh, it got sucked down and it's still clinging on, and she's hanging from a rope just like an alien covenant. And it's, I'm gonna shut up about this. All right, let's stop talking. We're almost at 2 hours right now.
Okay. Last thing,
Last
and then
things.
I'm done.
Okay.
It's not even that big. I didn't like the acid thing.
Oh, the zero G
The
acid.
zero G acid. I get it's like a fun idea.
Mhm.
I mean, I like the action sequence because it's like it's about time we get some fucking action in here
Yeah.
and they're killing all the things. That was fun. It just seemed a little silly for me. I didn't care for it.
You're not
It
gonna.
just,
That's never gonna happen. You're not gonna miss every drop of acid.
yeah, it just seems like, oh, it's a good thing all this acid just like worked in a chunk and we can,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
felt very video gamey.
hopscotch our way
Yeah.
through zero G. Of all the sequences in the movie, like, yeah, I don't necessarily love the ending with the monster, but like this is the dumbest part in it.
I think this is gonna be the most memorable action scene from the movie. It'll be like facehuggers in the water and zero G acid.
Well, sure, because it's kind of
The only.
the only
Yeah.
action sequence, really. I mean, you could argue, the hull, the cargo bay thing is that is an action sequence or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, that was the part I think from that point on I was like kind of checked out.
Mm.
Not really checked out. I still enjoyed the movie, but yeah, I didn't like the acid thing.
It'd be nice if the guy that died by the vagina spike in the eye and then he got acid on him, if he survived to this point and they're going through and then the gravity came back on and it all just dumped on him, that would have been
that'd
real
been cool.
Okay, since we're on last little bits, they're in the elevator shaft.
Yep.
Okay. This android is holding up the elevator.
Yep.
No, they're not that strong. I
Yeah.
know this one is like a mining one, so maybe it's a bit stronger, but they're not. None of the robots have demonstrated any sort of strength like this. Don't buy it. Stupid. And then she falls when the gravity comes back, and she falls. An alien grabs her out of the air with its tail and then yells at her in her face and then dies. Why did it catch her? Why didn't it like spear her or something? Why did it catch her gently?
Yeah, and not only catch her gently, but he like let her go.
Yeah, it's like
right?
curled. See, for a second, I thought the pregnant lady had injected herself off screen and she turned into an alien and was helping them. I was like,
funny.
are we missing a scene?
Yeah, the long head thing turns and there's still like her human face
like
on
it
the
opens
front.
its mouth and instead of the little mouth inside, it's her human face that comes out.
Hey girl, what's up?
This body's rules.
Alan.
Okay,
no one gets that joke. You do though.
I get it. Okay, so all in all, thumbs down from me, thumbs up from you, maybe, or maybe that's a tentative thumbs up.
I gave it a B plus, but after talking to you, I'm gonna bump it down to a B because I think it's still an enjoyable movie, and even if the movie kind of lacks in certain areas, the filmmaking aspect of it, I really appreciated it.
Sure.
I think it did enough there where I was like, it elevated the movie for me. Okay. So I'm gonna go B, but it was a B plus. You talked me down.
All right. I will say, if you were disappointed in this and you want a little alien fix, coming next year, we're getting an alien TV show called Alien Earth. So that'll be interesting. First time aliens on Earth, not counting the AVP movies. We'll see if that is a stinker. But there is something on YouTube. The channel is called Otaking Animation. It's Otaking, or Otaking. A king. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Sure.
But it's called Alien Monday. And it's just about aliens hate Mondays.
An alien in office just trying to crunching numbers.
Yep.
Going to sip coffee and a little mouth comes out and drinks. Yeah.
It's like these miners in space. They're heading to an asteroid, and they're waking up, or one girl's waking up from cryospace to discover that one of her partners had brought an alien on board. Now there's an alien on. It's like 20 minutes, relatively short. It's all hand-drawn animation, or at least I'm sure there's some CG in it, but it was all done by one dude. It's him and like his partner. I think it may even be his wife.
So two dudes.
With his wife. But he did all the animation stuff and she did like voice and sound editing and things like that.
Okay,
but
cool.
He hand animated this himself and it took him 6 fucking years. And it feels real shitty to watch something in 20 minutes and go like, cool, dude. And like took so much of your life.
That's art, baby.
That's like someone's whole college career. And this guy made 20 minutes of animation. But if you just like that kind of Ripley character fighting an alien and cool animations, I'd say the closest thing is like an Aeon Flux or a Robotech, like some mix in between there. But check it out. That's a really fun little short. Kind of palate cleanse from this Romulus stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Whew, long
We're going to talk more alien when we get off this.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I need to pee so bad.
This is a long one. Next week. What's next week? I don't think it's anything you give a shit. Oh, it's Blink Twice and The Crow.
God, I don't want to see The Crow. What's Blink Twice again?
The Channing Tatum.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh.
I mean, I know it's a Channing Tatum movie, but I don't know the story.
Kravitz's directorial debut and stuff, but okay. Yeah, so Blink Twice is just like normal girls get caught up with super rich, sexy Channing Tatum, and he says, "Come back to my private island, and we'll like chill."
Oh wait, I have seen this trailer.
And then people start forgetting what they did.
I think I might rather see The Crow.
Okay, well, The Crow, fun.
The Crow looks so generically bad.
But watching this last trailer, you can see there was a lot of blood that has been darkened to be approved. Yeah, sure. So maybe it'll just be a bloody good time. Maybe there'll just be some fun kills and shoot 'em ups.
Well, if it was like the movie Shoot 'em Up, then sure.
That movie. I don't know. I mean, we don't have to review that. We could do a Make Me Watch. We haven't done one of those in a very long time.
Fuck. What was the thing I wanted to make you watch? Or was it I wanted you to make me watch because I haven't seen it?
Oh.
Because I was thinking about movies I haven't seen.
Alien Resurrection?
No. Because someone was talking to me and they're like, "Oh, you haven't seen Dirty Dancing?" Because I haven't.
Oh, okay.
And I've been meaning to, but that's not the make me watch thing. I have to think about it.
Okay, think about it. But I don't know. We'll figure out something for next week. So if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Threads. What'd you think of Alien Romulus? And what's your ranking? Where do you put it on the list? Hit us up. And as always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming. better alien stuff.